Hello. Thank you very much for joining me today. How are you doing? Hey, if anybody walks in that door right there, please let me know. Okay, it's kind of creepy that it's open. I see that in the background. That would be really scary, wouldn't it be? Because I'm home alone. So if somebody walks up and comes through that door, just let me know. Anyway, I'm also kind of scared to watch this video. What do Europeans really think of Americans? These are always usually pretty brutal, but I'm used to it. You know, I'm prepared. I'm ready. I'm ready to go to battle. I'll try not to be too defensive. You know what I mean? It's from World of Nuance. Check out their channel, link down below. This is just part one. Oh boy. Let's see what the Europeans are really thinking. Don't hold back. And this is from last year, okay? So hopefully they're not talking too much about Donald Trump, because half the time, that's all I hear about. Granted, he very well may be the next president. All right, let's go.
What are your impressions of America right now?
So this kind of like consumerist way, I didn't really like it, to be honest. Like I didn't see humbleness in it.
My impression is that the country is pretty divided.
That's for sure. Oh my God, that is for sure.
Maybe like very polarized country.
You're pulling in so many different directions. Each one of them is getting more and more radical, it seems like.
What you saw.
Yeah, and I'm getting old enough now to remember back in the day, you know, the 90s. The 90s really felt like a great decade. And then, honestly, after 9/11, the whole country kind of bonded together. And everything felt very unified. But also that seemed to be the turning point that kind of set us down on a path. It's like we were going through the 90s and then 9/11 happened, boom. But it's like we bounced off it. And ever since then, we are extremely divided and getting more divided.
Told us in movies and on other media is not what real America is, what real US is.
I think the news are just so negative that it's easy to forget that it's also, in many ways, it seems to me, a great country.
What do European people...
That can be hard to forget that there are positives. You know, that can be hard to forget about the entire world as a whole. Humanity as a whole. All right, I'm skipping a little bit.
All Europeans have kind of like gotten kind of like a superiority complex towards Americans. Like, I think a lot of Europeans are like,
Beautiful lighting.
there's just so much stuff and so many people in America who just seem so like out of it. Like, it's just so...
It does feel very easy to hate on America.
So many weird ways of thinking that, but I think I don't think it's true that Europeans aren't that way. It just seems that there are more Americans who just can make themselves believe anything. And I think also like the politics in America, a lot of Europeans, especially Norwegians, we have kind of like a belief system which in many ways clashes with the American belief system, like with healthcare. A lot of that like individuality and capitalist system, and like in Norway
Abortion,
we're more kind of
maybe?
and abortion. The
See, I mean, a lot of these topics are just like divided straight down the middle of America. Like something like abortion. Half the country, you know, the U.S. has exactly conflicting opposite views at both extreme ends on these topics. Same with healthcare.
like intense like freedom. Everybody does their own thing. I will not be limited by like gun laws and whatever. Like in Norway, we're kind of like more of a we have more of a socialist foundation. So I
guess that kind of goes back to the founding of this country. Definitely those cultural values, they still are here in America as far as like freedom. like in theory, championing, why can't I say that word? Championing freedom and like, gun rights is a part of that. Definitely, since, it's in the Constitution. And yeah, just because of the founding, the historical. I'm getting kind of creeped out. I just thought about, that door again. Hold on. Okay, now I can't blame the door. The door is closed. Anyway, you know, America was found as kind of like, you know, rebelling against Britain. And so there's still very much that culture in America of like, you know, the citizens should be armed just in case. You know, it needs to be that balance of power between the citizens and the government and the military. Yeah.
It's easy for Norwegians to kind of look down on Americans and think they're being like very stupid, but I don't think it's true that all Americans, obviously not all Americans are like that, and it seems like there's a lot of
There's something a little bit funny to me. She's like, not all Americans are like that. She didn't say anything like, you know, that attitude is not necessarily completely stupid. She's like, it is totally stupid, but not all Americans are like that. It's just a little bit funny to me. I mean, don't get me wrong, there's plenty of stupidity, especially around those subjects. Oh boy.
differences between the states, but I don't know, it's just, yeah, it's a very different belief system, I think.
Funny story, I was just in America for 6 months this spring. I was an exchange student there
What'd you think?
in California. I've been to America a couple of times, and you know, it's always a great country to visit, but of
Hey.
course the media coverage isn't always, you know, projecting positive things. Like a lot of complications with the president or with the abortion laws, and
Interesting they keep talking about that. I didn't know that story was so like universally reported around the world. I mean, I know that Europeans in general and people in the rest of the world do a better job at keeping up with what's going on in other countries and stuff. But I didn't know that issue in particular was, you know, so pervasive throughout the world. Interesting. It definitely was huge news over here in America. Still is. Still is. You know, this was a year ago, so this would have been right when it was happening, I guess.
I feel like the country. My impression is that the country is pretty divided, and just into two different.
It's kind of interesting for me to think like and remember not every country is like that. Not every country is so divided. Like, yes, countries, you know, with democracies at least, all have their own different political parties and stuff, but they're not so vehemently like opposing on a lot of core issues. You got to remember that it's not good that it's that way over here in America.
Parties. So you know, you hear a lot of things that you maybe don't think is the best way to solve some issues. But all in all, America has always been like the big brother of the North, Norway. So no, it's not all bad.
I've not been to
The big brother, that's kind of interesting. It almost implies it's like the older brother, but obviously we're a young, very young country.
America so much.
Of course, America is a big country. I think that's what she is implying. Like, just a very big, influential country.
I visited her on in Easter. So most of the knowledge about America comes from the media, and yeah, as she said, it seems to be a bit divided into two parties. That's pretty much what I know.
I think people think it's very chaotic,
Yes.
very polarized.
Yeah.
That is certainly an amazingly common theme here, huh? Polarized. It's totally accurate.
Yeah, I think, but you know, it's now we're probably only going to mention the negatives, right? Because that's what you get in the news. So sure, America has problems, but so does
Norway.
everyone.
Yeah, we all do.
I think then the news are just so negative that it's easy to forget that it's also it's in many ways it seems to me a great country. But I think
I really like a lot of these people all seem very, you know, thoughtful, grounded. They think about what they're saying and stuff. I appreciate that. There can be a lack of that here in America sometimes. People trying to just say, random crap without much thought going on. Some people.
I think people think about the things they see in the news, and the news just tend to focus on bad things. Unfortunately, most people see America in black and white, which is what we should try not to do, because then we're just keeping it polarized in a sense. We're reinforcing that polarization.
Perpetuating it.
What's your impression of people in my country, or just my country in general right now?
I guess very friendly and extroverted and talkative. I guess this is maybe like very polarized country when it comes
Oh my God, everybody's saying it. Yikes, it's true.
to like politics that is very conservative and like capitalistic.
How I see America and Americans right now, it's
Right, but we have like the opposite as well. I mean, not a lot of people with the opposite. You're not going to make it like very far in politics if you're not at least a capitalist in some way. Maybe, some socialism, like, like Bernie Sanders, like democratic socialism mixed in there. But you're not going to make it too far in American politics without some capitalism, I think. At least right now. But with that said, there is a huge, faction within this country that is very like pro-communism and socialism and stuff. So it's very divided.
big contrasts, and I would say the country of getting more and more difficult for me to express this, but express that. But it looks like it could be both very.
These people speak amazing English. It must be difficult to articulate, a complicated thought you have in a second language.
Engaged, very scientific, and leader in many fields. And on the other side, it's also a country of coming with the most dumb ideas and very shallow approach to the life and so on. So a lot of contrast, and thinking about politics. Such a big country, and you cannot find a single person that could be a really decent president.
Yeah.
But
okay, I had to go back and watch that just to make sure I fully understood. I really enjoyed that answer. That's a very interesting observation that, America simultaneously outputs a lot of good scientific research, a lot of the most, successful companies in the world, and a lot of stupidity comes out of, and also like the most stupid, like music and stuff, for example, comes out of America. It's amazing how the spectrum of quality, all the way from garbage to great, comes out. Pretty interesting.
Find a single person that could be a really decent president.
Yeah.
But I feel the same way.
I think about that every freaking day. Like, is this really the best we can do? It's amazing. It's remarkable. It shows you just how corrupt the entire system is. That's the best we could do is to get between, Biden and Trump. Again. That's the best we could do again. To me, that speaks a lot. Because I personally know people that I'm pretty sure are smarter than both of them combined. And I'm not even talking about left or right. I don't even honestly care about that. You know what I mean? For a lot of issues, there's more than one way to skin a cat. It's just you've got to be intelligent to choose the right ones and the right combination of different methods and stuff to get something accomplished and to make a successful country. And you just got to have some intelligence, please. That should be the number one factor, in my opinion, on who I vote for.
In Poland, there's nearly 40 million of us, and we didn't have a good president either, so somehow this is a thing. I would say politically we consider right now it's more stable having Biden as a president. Of course, Trump was considered as somebody totally unpredictable, not really the guy of politics, and we could see these days also some reports that probably not the most ethical person.
What's funny is like a lot of those reasons are exactly why a lot of Trump fans voted for him in the first place and will again, is because he's not a like traditionally political person. He's totally unpredictable. It's like a big like F you, just we're gonna vote in this clown. Is how it feels. To go in there like a bull through a china shop and just like blah, shake up the entire thing. It's pretty crazy. Pretty crazy state of affairs.
And you know the way we see it also, that it's country probably good for young and wealthy people, healthy people and wealthy people.
Yeah.
Did he say it's good for young people?
For the way we see it also, that it's country probably good for young and wealthy people, healthy people and wealthy people.
I guess he's saying young people because they're healthy and so they don't have to spend a lot on healthcare. Is that what he's saying? Because, I mean, the economy right now is absolutely not in favor of the young. You know what I mean? The young are getting pretty screwed. It's that way with a lot of countries around the world right now, not just America. But as far as inheriting, you know, a great, prospering, growing economy that, you know, you can get an amazing job and just buy a beautiful big house with a basic job after a 4-year degree, like that is dwindling quickly for the young people. Just to buy a house alone costs them is, you know, it like takes up the majority of your paycheck nowadays.
Yeah.
Whereas a lot of older people have already bought their houses. When rates were, well, back in the day, what rates were much higher, but you know, they've refinanced their rates. They bought the house for like $100,000, you know, $70,000, and they're good.
Because in a way, what we hear, you know, the cost of the healthcare, for instance, seems not to be the way that developed countries should handle it.
Agreed.
But on the other hand, we see it from the distance. We are not living there, so it's just an impression. We don't know how it is for real over there.
I mean, okay, so for real over here, it kind of feels like a bit of a lottery. It's a little bit of a Russian roulette. That's kind of how it feels. It's like everybody pays a lot for healthcare, okay? Because you have to buy health insurance. If you don't do that, then you're really playing the lottery. But, you know, you buy health insurance, that's pretty expensive. Your co-pays and stuff to see the doctors, not very expensive, you know. Okay, going to urgent care, getting sick, you know, this is all manageable. But what you're playing roulette with is if you get cancer or in a really bad car accident or something and you need a lot of procedures done. That's when you've lost the game of roulette. And we're all spinning around on the wheel. And at any point, your number might be chosen. And that ain't good. That's how it feels.
What would you say are your impressions of America right now? Of the people there, of the country? Like,
I've never been, you know, so
Yeah.
I cannot really judge. Like, when I used to live abroad, I met a lot of Americans. To be honest, I didn't have the best experiences. But that's those people, right? So
yeah.
I had this, and also
I really appreciate her attitude once again. You know, she's like, well, the ones I met probably seemed like arrogant, annoying jerks, but that's just them. I don't know about the rest of them. I appreciate that. You know, those are just the rich kids that are, you know, traveling around on their mommy's dime. Okay? They don't represent all of us.
so, you know, I consume a lot of like American TV and a lot of movies, you know, so I think, you know, in the middle of Europe, we get a lot of your culture, you know, in this kind of lens from the movies and the music, and so we actually know a lot without even being there, you know?
Yeah.
So, I mean, I find beauty in it, but like, I don't know, it's hard to say, like, so this kind of like consumerist way, that you think, or at least what I witnessed with this couple of people I met during my journeys, I didn't really like it, to be
You know, it's kind of funny. I mean, I kind of joke about, you know, it's the rich kids that are traveling around from America, but that kind of reinforces what I think. Like, yeah, there's a lot of materialism and consumerism over here in America, but it's mostly among the rich people, which there's nothing wrong, in my opinion. There's nothing wrong with like being rich. Like, I want to be rich. I would not be one of those people. I think it's mostly the people that were like born rich, and they just care so much about like what shoes they're wearing and all this crap. And to be honest, there's people like this all around the world, I'm pretty sure. But there's a lot over here in America. Certainly seems like an outsized number of them. Yeah.
honest.
And those very well may be the people traveling around.
Like I didn't see humbleness in it, you know?
Yeah.
And so that wasn't the best.
See, now if you come over here to Indiana and go out into the boondocks and go down to the country store and meet the local, you know, family that owns it, and then, you know, the farmer that's in there buying something, you might find a little bit more humbleness. But those are, once again, probably not the people traveling to Europe. That's expensive. If you can't, it's expensive to travel all the way to Europe. And over here in America, you don't get very many vacation days. So it's like, how are you doing that? You must have a lot of money.
Experience, but obviously I met some, like, you are a really nice guy, you know?
Thank you.
I'm not saying it's impossible, by the way. I'm not saying that. If you really prioritize and save up for it, you can do it.
And I met an American actor who was really cool, you know,
really?
like he was so sweet, you know, and so kind and so respectable, you know, like, so, I mean, I don't really think you can generalize people, you know, you have different experiences with different people.
I mean, I agree. It's like, on one hand, you can't generalize an individual based off of what country they're from. You can't just say, oh, that guy's from here, so I know him. But you can, on the other hand, say, you know, this country has an overall, like, it's undeniable that on average over here in America, people are louder. They're louder. Like in a restaurant. I have learned that. That's obvious. So in that way, you can generalize sometimes.
Yeah, they're like, I think there's like types of people overall.
Yeah,
like there's a
for
certain
sure.
culture, but then when you get down to individual level,
Yeah, exactly.
people
So I don't want to
differ.
say like I'm not into it, you know, because
Yeah.
I don't know, you know, and I'm sure if I would go there and experience it for myself, like for instance California, I'm sure it's beautiful. And,
Yeah.
You know, there are so many things to do and so many nice people to meet.
Exactly.
So I don't know. I mean, and you have really great artists, you know, so
Yeah.
that you brought out into the world. So
Yeah, it's a very creative.
yeah,
creative
exactly.
place, for sure.
Exactly.
A lot of terrible artists, too.
I think you guys are kind of crazy.
Okay.
Like there's just, you're pulling in so many different directions, and each one of them is getting more and more radical, it seems like. There's no...
This is the most American seeming Norwegian dude. Oh, this is in Hungary? Hungarian. To me. Like, I would just think, I don't know.
more common ground, or at least it's shrinking.
Yes.
He's right.
And you think it's both sides? It's not just like one. It's not like one side or the other.
I mean, I'm all for like left-leaning stuff. Like
I like how they just say both sides. I think that itself is a problem. There shouldn't just be two sides. For example, me, myself, I don't fit into either of those holes. You know, the round or the square one. I'm a triangle over here, okay? I think some things are good from both, and some things are totally stupid from both. And there's not a lot of love for people over here in the States, in the middle. There's not a lot of options. You're kind of, even the TV channels are like, are you left wing? Then you watch this TV channel. Are you right wing? Then you watch this one. That's stupid.
It's fine, but you can take it to an extreme that like a semi-conservative person would not be okay with, and I don't think that's doing anyone any favors.
Yeah.
Like you can have reforms and still kind of keep with the culture or keep with like values that are.
I'm just kind of amazed. I have to say, this guy speaks amazing English. Like, he sounds American to me.
That other people still feel important to them. So I don't. It's very different from any other place in the world. Like I don't. To me, it's just.
It's like a reality TV show of the world, isn't it? It's like what's happening in America today. Look at them. Oh my God, it's crazy. Chaos.
I don't know. They're just going in too many different directions.
I'm just curious what your thoughts are on America and like the people of America at this state in time.
I think you American people did it very well with Hollywood and all that stuff, but when you get a little bit into the US culture, you find that what you sold us in movies and on other media is not what real America is, what real US is. And it's true that while the time is going by, we are starting to understand that US is not the center of the world, and we don't have to strictly follow what US is saying and what US people are thinking. I know that also US is divided into ways, as you said before. I don't know, I think...
I'm just trying to think right now. I'm trying to think, how does the media portray US culture? He's saying it's not accurate, basically. I'm trying to think, like, how do movies portray America? Because to be frank, I mean, obviously movies are movies. They're fake. They're exaggerated. They're fake. They're glorified. But I'm just thinking of like iconic movies, and I do think they portray America, at least, you know, the time period in which they were made. You know, like if you go watch It's a Wonderful Life, I think that portrays that time period pretty great. And if you watch Home Alone, you'll see a lot in it that's like, wow, this really feels like that is how the 90s felt in America. Or like Ghostbusters or something. And yeah. Of course, it's glorified. So it's not all as sunshine and rainbows as it is in the movies.
The whole world is changing, and the globalization in English, yeah, is also making people understand that you can get the best parts from all the countries. Of course, US has very good things to give to the world, but it's true also that the European people or the people from many other countries can also give a lot to the world, not only the US.
I think that's great, in my opinion. It's like, yes. I don't think one country having too much like influence, sticking their hands everywhere, is good. Just in general, you know what I mean? You know, not one person should have too much influence over a country. Not one country should have too much influence over the world. It should all be very, you know, decentralized. And there should be a lot of different options for people to move around and live where they want and in a place that suits their values, free from, you know, whether it's American control or influence. And, you know, am I making any sense? I don't know. But that was a great video. I really actually enjoyed that a lot. Those were some deeply well thought out answers by these Europeans. Well done. Go check out World of Nonce. Nuance. Nuance. That's not even a word over here in America, but I know what it... Oh, God. I'm going to end the video now, guys. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.